Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you guys for joining me again. My name is Wilkie and I'm here with another Lost Ark guide. Today's topic is going to be about masterpieces, and more specifically how to obtain them, why you should be obtaining them, and what you can actually get for them. So while we're traveling to the point of where to actually exchange them for the goodies, a few key points here. It's basically one of those collectibles that you collect through doing other collectibles, not only but mainly. For example, you can get them for collecting Giant's Hearts, you can collect them for doing adventure books, and your classic do a questline, do Epona questlines, do merchants. All of these information are listed here, and as usual, papunica.com also exists where you can read all of this information. Also, I can show you, for example, that multiple adventure books, if you go to Southbound, for example, there's one for 60%, and let's see, there's one at Tortoise. So there are plenty sources to get them. Some are relatively easy and straightforward. Some others require some more work or some RNG NPCs, but like I said, each specific individual masterpiece can be found on the website papunica.com. So I highly suggest you check that out. Now onto the juicy part on why you should actually collect those things. You have to go to the island of Sunflowers. This is where the exchange NPC is. So we're shortly arriving here, and I will show you why masterpieces are probably one of the best collectibles you should actually be doing, because there are quite some juicy rewards to be obtained, which I think are incredibly good. So we're here at Alphonse Vidis, which is the masterpieces exchanger, which is sort of like an artist. And let's just dive right into the rewards. So first reward, Starflower cards. This is card energy or card points for awakening your cards in the card system. And emote boast. I don't remember if this emote is actually used for a questline, so it's probably more of a gimmick. Also, it's very early on. Then you have a small deck of Alphonse Vidis. So these are actually the card decks that he creates. He's probably a ripoff of any artist you probably have seen already. So a card deck, green one, nothing too special. Vitality potion is good. The Soul of Sunflower Island, this is probably one of the main rewards that you're looking for. Also fairly common to obtain. We have Atropine bottles. This is again card energy. Another growth potion. This time we're looking at the main stat. A big deck, this time blue, so we're slowly progressing into actually good rewards. I mean, if you get Tomiya's card out of this, it may be useful as well, but typically you're looking for better cards. This is an object that you can place in your estate. This is one of the rewards that I think are incredibly good. This casket is worth 3,000 gold. So this one's pretty juicy, and it comes relatively early in it, if you will. Debris of Time is another pack of card energy. The Val rune. This is the rune that I think is incredibly potent for some classes, not every class, but plenty classes actually have a good use of this Val and Valmorge combo rune. I'll explain what the combo rune is after talking through the rewards. Then you have a purple deck. Then you have another piece that you can put into your estate. A second casket. This time we're getting 5,000 gold. So in total, these two alone are worth 8,000 gold, which, especially for a starting out player, is a quite heavy amount. Keep in mind, though, that with the gold reworks or with the system reworks, this may change in the future, but as of now, this is pretty valid. Rune Lyre Tome, again, card energy. Another casket, this time with 8,000 gold, so in total we have 8 and another 8, so 16,000 gold. You have the Way card. Or, well, I don't have it, but you can get it. Pretty powerful card, especially if you're looking for the offensive card sets. The 38 one, 13,000 gold. This is pretty massive, so in total we have 29,000 gold lying around in these collectibles here. Another title here, and this time you get Wisdom. Then once again, another thing that you can put into your estate. Then the Valmorge rune, which is actually the counter piece. So for the Valmorge or the Val rune combo, you need 2 runes. I'll explain that. This is the legendary one. This is super good. Runon, I don't think this card is useful for most pieces. This is a cooking masterpiece. This is for cooking in your estate. And last but not least, you have a random card deck, which, to be fair, if anything, I think this reward is worth working for those two. Needless to say, 29,000 gold is a massive additional gold that you can obtain for collecting these. which I think makes them the second most important collectibles in the entire game, next to Giant's Heart for a lot of skill points. And for the most part, they are actually fairly easy to obtain outside of the RNG ones. So, what's the deal with the Val and Valmorge rune? So if we take a look at that, I actually only have the purple version. So how this works is when you attack an enemy with a skill that has this rune on, you can get a buff, the punishment, for 30 seconds. That buff alone doesn't do anything. So if you only use the Val rune, it doesn't really do anything. Once you have the buff from the Val rune and you actually use the Valmorge rune, so let's say in my example on my Lance Master, I have it on Full Moon Strike, so I use Full Moon Strike, Crescent Moon, use Crescent Moon, get the Val buff, and then I use Sky Wheel to trigger Valmorge. I will get a buff that increases my mana rate regeneration, and I will get a cooldown reduction, which is pretty nifty on certain classes, especially if you have huge mana spenders. Also, the cooldown reduction is really good. There's one thing that I like to note, or two things. There's an internal cooldown when talking about this. Also, it doesn't act retroactively. So, if you use a skill and then pop your Valmorge rune buff, it doesn't retroactively reduce the cooldown. For the most part, I try to trigger this buff before using the Awakening, because a 15-second cooldown reduction on your Awakening skill is pretty neat. For most other spells, it's basically just spam away, but what I typically try to do, I try to trigger this buff and then use my Awakening in order to get it up faster. Anyways, this is really all I can tell you about masterpieces. Like I said, if I were to rate this, I'd say this is probably the second most important collectible you should be worrying about. Pretty easy to do, pretty straightforward. So, last but not least, if you do want to see me live on Twitch or playing games basically, then feel free to shoot a message or a follow down the line to my channel. I typically stream on Monday, 1700 CST, and other days that I typically announce on my Twitter, on videos like these, or in Discord. So feel free to use any of the other social media links below. Shameless plug is end here. Also, I do hope this was helpful, and I do hope you enjoyed it. You stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys next time.
You want me to take you back?